Hey, what's going on YouTube? Slazer here. Today we'll talk about Lauma, which is coming out in 6.0, I believe second half. So yeah, we'll take a look at her kit and everything you need to know about her. We already covered the previous character Flins, his kit in a previous video. You can go check that one out if you're interested in this character. But in this one, we'll talk about Lauma. So what does she do? She's a catalyst dendro character who will change the bloom reaction, all four of the bloom reaction to lunar bloom. So let's take a look at what she does and how she functions pretty much. So she's a dendro catalyst as I said, and her gimmick is with the lunar reactions of the all not cry characters that changing the reactions. She will change the bloom reaction, all four of them: hyper bloom, virgin, regular bloom, as well as the Nilo's bountiful course. All four of them she will change them as long as she's in the team. All of those blooms will be converted to lunar blooms. So that's the main thing you need to know. Now let's dive into her kit. Normal attack and plunging attack don't do anything. Let's skip them. As far as a charge attack, the charge attack is for exploration kind of thing. You turn into a horse kind of thing, like the deer. Okay, not horse, kind of the deer, and you merge with the deer and you like sprint, and that's pretty much it. Let's talk about the skill, which is the main important thing from our kit. The tap version doesn't do anything, just normal damage. The main thing is on our hold skill. When you hold the skill, you consume a stack of dewdrop and you create a field that will follow your active character, and it will deal dendro damage to AoE targets. AoE. So it's AoE dendro damage basically, pretty good, and it follows your active character. How do you gain the dewdrop? You gain the dewdrop whenever you do bloom damage. So whenever you create the bloom in the team, as long as Lauma is on the team, it will like you will get the dewdrop stack. Now it doesn't trigger with bloom because it triggers with lunar bloom, but as long as he's in the team it will be lunar bloom, so there's nothing to think about really there. It's just, you can just think of it as you trigger the reaction, you gain the stack pretty much. Now let's talk about the next thing, which is whenever you cast this skill, you will decrease the dendro resistance and hydro resistance of enemy by 10%. This is pretty good. This will be useful for carries like Alaitam in the team, and if you play like New Billet and stuff, they will be also viable, and you use this resistance shred. So it's pretty good. As well as there's also another thing, which is when you consume this stack of dewdrop, which you gain from the reaction, you will gain this a new stack of moon chant. So this moon chant stack will be used in her ultimate. So we'll take a look at her ultimate right now. So the skill didn't really provide much. It's just, it didn't provide much complicated stuff. It did provide a lot, which is off-field dendro damage, and it's AoE. It stays on the field, follows your character, gives you the stack and dendro resistance and hydro resistance as well. Let's talk about the ultimate. What does the ultimate do is, whenever you cast the ultimate, it will consume the moon chant stacks, and if you don't have any moon chant stacks, it will count like after casting the ultimate. If you gain any additional moon chant stacks after doing the dewdrop and like hitting with the skill, it will like work like that as well if you trigger it late. So nothing to really worry about there. You will just get these buffs no matter what, as long as you like keep playing the character, right? So yeah, whenever you cast this ultimate, you will consume this moon chant and you will gain this effect of like additional stacks of pale him, say 6 additional gains like stacks. So what does this pale him stacks do? Let's talk about right now. So pale him is whenever teammates trigger bloom, virgin, hyper bloom, or lunar bloom, so all four of them, one pale him stack is consumed to increase the reactions damage, scaling with Lauma's EM. If multiple enemies are hit, stacks are consumed based on the number of enemies. Each stack has an independent duration. So to explain this more simply, it's exactly like how Sene's Quill works. So you gain this buff, you give this buff with, you give the Sene Quill buff to your active character with your tap your holdy, and it just works like that. They take it and deals more damage, and it's considered Sene's damage kind of thing. But yeah, this one is like you will give this to the reaction itself, and as long as the reaction deals damage to the enemies, it will consume the stacks and deals more damage with the reaction. That's how this works. Very simple to understand if you already know how Sene works. So how does the chain work? Kind of like the chain thing, you like keep changing the buff. Is like you do the reaction, you gain the dewdrop. When you cast the skill, you consume the dewdrop and you convert it to moon chant. And when you cast the ultimate, the moon chant you consume and you gain pale him as well. And the pale him is the buff, and it's used for the reaction buff. That's pretty much it. So that's all from the skill and ultimate. Let's talk about the talents, which are more important stuff. So what does the what does the talents do? The first talent is it will make the all of the blooms crit, like a base crit of 15% crit rate and fixed, sorry, not base and fixed crit of 15% crit rate and 100% crit damage. Not bad. It makes them crit slightly more damage. So yeah. The second one is like whenever you have two Nordcry characters in the team, she will gain more crit rate and crit damage through the existing crit rate and crit damage. So overall, if you have two Nordcry characters in the team, you will gain 25% total crit rate and 120% total crit damage to the reactions, bloom reactions in particular. So yeah, you are heavily intensified to play two Nordcry characters for any Nordcry we've seen so far. So like Flins and her. So yeah, it's a pretty important to run another Nordcry characters. We'll talk about the team in the team session who you can run and who you want. So yeah, let's talk about the third passive, which is like at 800 EM you will gain 32% damage bonus. It's pretty cool. And the second one is at 1000 EM you will gain a little bit of cooldown reduced to on your sprint, which is in a charge attack. We talked about the exploration one. It's not that important, nothing to think about. You just need 800 EM. That's all for now. As well as she has another additional one, or like the Nordcry ones, which are like she gains. Let's read this. Grace 1000 boys triggers lunar boom, increase the base damage of lunar boom Luma's EM each point lunar boom up to 14%. Okay, so 14% lunar boom damage increase, also increase party moonshine level by 1. Okay, so it's like yeah, it's like 14% lunar boom damage increase, nothing too crazy. So far we don't really see much crazy stuff from this. Lunar bloom isn't really looking that much like broken or anything, but it does open up a few potential teams with Lauma being a good off-field dendro support just like Nahida, as well as it can crit, so should be a little bit better and stuff, but we'll see how it ends up. And yeah, as well as the C1 is kind of scummy. We'll not talk about the constellation, just like we didn't talk about the Flint's constellation. We'll talk about the constellation when things get more stable, and things like this can change always. So yeah, we'll talk about the constellation at the last kind of situations like V6 or stuff, like when the live stream is closed or stuff. So yeah, we'll talk about the cons then. For now, I just want to talk about the C1. The C1 gives you healing, which is kind of scummy in my opinion, because you're making an support kind of DPS character, sub DPS or support character healer, which like reduces one slot for like an additional healer, and it can buff the team more. So we'll see how that turns out. They might just add the healing to the base kit as well, we don't know yet, but that's why I don't want to talk about the constellation in much detail. But the C1 feels kind of bad to be locked behind a C1. It's a good healing amount which is locked behind a constellation pretty much. So yeah, if this C1 was in the base kit, it would potentially end up with more teams as well. For example, like some Sino teams will struggle without this C1. So yeah, we'll talk about that in the team section. But before that, let's talk about her signature pretty much. So this signature is not good in my humble opinion. This signature is not looking too good because yeah, it's a transformative reaction with bloom, and more damage bonus to the reaction itself wouldn't really be good if the character that triggering the reaction is using elemental mastery max EM, unless it's for character like Nubilat. If they trigger it, it's different. But yeah, let's read this. When you trigger this reaction with the elemental skill and stuff, you gain 60 EM, and you gain additional 60 EM, and you gain 120% bloom damage bonus, 80% hyper bloom damage bonus, 40% lunar bloom damage bonus. It's not crazy. If your active character or like the character that's triggering the reaction don't have EM, which is highly unlikely, this will be good for them, but otherwise it's not crazy. To be honest, you don't need this really. We'll see about the weapon rankings and how the weapons are for different scalings and such. We also need her own like values and stuff, her scalings and percentages, like numbers. So we don't know all that yet, so we'll talk about this in the future more. So yeah, this is pretty much the weapon for now. Also, it provides 265 EM on the base, like the passive. So yeah, let's talk about her teams pretty much now and see what's up with this one. So before we talk about teams, I want to make one thing clear, which is you always want an additional not cry character in the team. So that can be Ineffa in the Hyperbloom variations, or that can be Aino, who is a Hydro character, so she can be used in the Nilo Bloom teams. So when she comes out in 6.0, you might want to build this free 4-star character. She'll be free. She will also be on the banner, but she'll be free in the event, I think, or something like that. I don't know, but she'll be free. Just don't worry about that. So when you start playing her in the 6.0, she will be paired with Aino pretty much without the Ineffa teams. Like for Nilo team, you can't pair Electro character, right? You need Hydro. So Aino will be the case. But in the future, she will be replaced with Columbina, which is highly likely because Columbina will be a catalyst Hydro, and she will have off-field Hydro presence. So yeah, she will be a big buff for all those teams. Just keep that in mind. So in the future, you might want to go for Columbina as well for these teams in a replacement for Aino. Aino is not good at all besides the C6. At C6, he becomes kind of useful. Before C6, he is just a like a cosmetic for you to have second not cry character in the team. That's pretty much it. This character is absolutely bad, so bad it's crazy. Other than the not cry passive, you don't really need this character unless C6. C6 is kind of good, but she's a new character, so C6 will be very hard to get for everyone. With that said, we'll put Columbina back here and talk about Aino for now. But do keep in mind, Columbina will replace Aino in the future. That's just it. So the characters that will use her are pretty much the characters that could use Nahida before and stuff and all of that. So for Flins, as I already said, a team like this will be the best in slot. So yeah, another character you would add, like as I said, might be Silonen or other stuff if it doesn't scale with his own damage and scales with Lunar Bloom. Sorry, not Lunar Bloom, like Lunar Charge and stuff. Then some different character besides Silonen, or like an Animus threat like Sucrose. Yeah, this team will work. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this team with Flins. And if you change any of the characters, the team's value will go down a lot. If you change Ineffa with this character, the team will do significantly less damage and stuff. So it's kind of cooked on that part for some of the teams. But yeah, so and you absolutely need two not cry characters. I mean, you don't need Aino. Okay, sorry, my bad. I was wrong. You don't need Aino for the Flins teams. I was thinking about the other ones. Flins is also not cry, right? So yeah, I forgot about that part. My bad. That's my bad. That's completely my bad. You also need a Hydro in this team. I totally forgot. That's completely my bad. I don't know how I forgot that. You need this one. You don't have Hydro on that team. Her Hydro application is not that good. Also, she's a 4-star. Before C6 is useless. So you kind of want either Yelan or Xingqiu on the team with this team, and this will work pretty great. So that's pretty much it. You can also play this team with I'd say Cookie. This can work because I mean, see, he's Electro 2, so you don't really need an Electro trigger, but that's just something to keep in mind with a healer. You can have a healer like that in the team. Otherwise, you won't be having a healer like this. This isn't a healer, right? So this might be pretty cooked. This can work as well with Silonen in the team. Silonen can heal your team. That's how that can work. That's pretty much it for the Flins teams. We'll see what happens when he comes out. As for the Alhaitham teams, this one is looking pretty good as well with her. So with her on the team, you kind of want to play like this. This team will work great. You are missing a Hydro, like a additional not cry character, but that should be all right with this team, I guess. And if you don't want that, you can play a team like this. But in the future, you will definitely replace this Columbina team. A team like this will work as well and stuff. So yeah, as well as on the Nilo teams, you will work great with this team in particular. And you need a healer as well in this one. So the healer can be either Baiju or Kokomi. Where is Kokomi? Let me find her. I2 is here, so Kokomi should be here. Yeah, here. So yeah, this team will work pretty great with Nilo. It will also be a little bit of buff for Nilo teams as well. Nilo is kind of underwhelming right now without in the current state. So yeah, see, this should be a good buff for her as well. When Columbina comes out, that will be a great buff for all of the teams pretty much, where you can replace Aino with Columbina, as I am saying every time. So yeah, as well as you can play some hydro carry teams with new billet and other hydro carries as well. I'm just mentioning new billet, but you can play other carries like Ayato as well, but Ayato is not that good right now. But just know that they can work, as new billet will be the main contender here. You would play a team like Lauma on the team. I guess you can play Furina here as well, with Raiden on the team as well, with some Hyper Bloom, full EM stacked Raiden. So this team will work great. This team will work perfectly fine with Furina. Where is Furina? Where is she? Okay, here is Furina. I think this team will work perfectly fine with her in the team with Raiden, Hyper Bloom, and both of them being Hydro. This team will work great. You can also change some of the things here in the team, and yeah, just if it makes sense, it will work basically. You can also play some hyper carry teams with Chlorine, Quick Bloom stuff, but those will not be Chlorine's best team, so I'm not gonna go into them too much in detail. Just know they will work. I'll tell you more about the teams in a future video where more things are stable and more information and scaling and stuff comes out. But that's pretty much it for this one. As well as another mention I would like to say, the new artifact sets are absolutely broken. So this on-field set which will provide leakers are saying that this can crit, this crit can stack. So it might be 45% crit damage boost. So this can work on the on-fielders like Alhitam and stuff, and for other characters. So that might be interesting to see how those all unfold. Hopefully it's not that as crazy as it's being said. I hope it's a misunderstanding with wording or something. If it's 45%, it's absolutely cooked and it's a heavy power creep. I am gonna make a different video on that, but yeah, it's not looking good for this one. Hopefully it's 30 and not 45. It's just praying for that, right? So yeah, that will be a different video. But yeah, that's it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed the explanation of Lauma and how she functions. If you enjoyed the video, let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions, as well as subscribe. And thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Make sure to subscribe for future content like this. And yeah, bye bye, peace YouTube.